touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything on it.
Well, good afternoon, Sigma race fans. We've got something new on deck here today, starting on the holidays and throughout the season. We will be doing the Sigma Elite Challenge. So this in its own is going to be the best of the best when it comes to Sigma race car drivers that have been around in the series long enough to garner a big enough following. And so 21 of the best Sigma racers are going to take to the field here today in the vintage trucks around the beaches of Daytona. So a true throwback prior to the 1959 paved version of the racetrack. They used to race on the beaches at Daytona. So back to the bootlegger days, these races are going to be exciting and fun to watch all season. Some big what-if scenarios, a lot of unique concepts rolling forward, as the Elite Challenge will feature 5 races with these vintage trucks, 5 races with the late model stock car, and 5 races with an Indycar styled open wheel race car. So, and you can expect the tracks to kind of match the feel. Specifically one track for the Indycar, we're going to be racing at the Brickyard when it was all made of bricks. So, great concept. We'll see how it comes out in the fold here. Definitely a great idea, and we'll see if it's going to be a great idea by the end of the year. So, think of it more of like a IROC series, Race of Champions, with the big names of Sigma Racing. So starting front row, you're going to have the 09 GMC there of Matthew Fassnot with the 39 of Wyatt Wilkinson. Next row back, you've got Taden Bergeron and 2024 Sigma Cup champion Al Bunch. Next in line, you've got Jonah Burridge and the 09, or the 9 car of Braden Varga, your defending Rookie of the Year in Sigma Cup. Next back, you've got Chase Kovacic and Kevin Xavier. Cooper Dwight in the number 41 alongside Finlay Herwig in the number 68. Chaz Chadwick and Chris Harvey. Trevor Walker and Dave Steele Jr. Bradley Ream and Tim Cording. Brian DeBlanc and Trevor Vaden. Tasha Wright and Ryan White, not a tongue twister at all. And then at the very back, starting tail into the field here tonight, Jacob Schengle. So standard Sigma rules apply. They will not have caution flags at the road course here today unless it merits a full field caution to be thrown. 39 laps is a grand total of 250 miles here on the beaches of Daytona. You already see him getting slideways, getting up to speed on the pace lap here. We looked at the schedule to try and figure something out. We put together something on holiday weeks as much as possible. And so this week, of course, none other than Valentine's Day today. For those of you that are tuned in watching, hopefully it's not a burden to deal with Valentine's Day here. Got some racing action that you can enjoy in the meantime to kind of fill the void of an empty Valentine's Day for some, maybe. Or if you're watching this and got the reminder, don't forget maybe to get something for your significant other. It's a long track. It's 4.9 miles the distance around the beach here. And the pace car, a throwback pace car, it looks like a old hearse. The trucks with the throwback truck, pace truck on its way down pit road, green flag in hand with the flag man, and we're gonna get rolling here today. Someone will become victorious for the first ever Sigma Elite Challenge race. As they go spinning around turn 1 here. Now, without cautions, you know you got to make the most of it and not make a mistake here today. There we go. Start finish line right there, and we're off and rolling here at Daytona Beach. At 09 there, Matthew Fastnot leads the way. Yeah, maybe our hearse was a little bit a missed call on that. Definitely a vintage-looking pace truck for sure. The Suburban delivery van seems very, very on point for better description of it. Very unique. This track's got some pavement on it, and then it's also got, you know, the sands, obviously. So 3 wide, 4 wide with Chase Kovacic down on the bottom. The leader's going to get into the wall, clip the tire barrier there. And now your new leader, Tayden Berggren. Matthew Fastnot just could not hold on there for dear life. Unfortunately, clipped the wall. Looks like he's going to recover. These trucks are rigid. You know, you can take a lick and keep on ticking. And it looks like that might be the case here for the 09 of Fastnot, as positions have changed up at the front. Tayden Berggren leading. Almost looks like they're drafting on the sands. It's crazy to think that they would actually have a draft, you know, available draft air that would help make them go faster here on the beach sand. But who are we to know? It's a big what-if scenario anyways. Jonah Burridge, he's going to get by the 43 there of Berggren and lead the lap there. We're on lap 2 of 39. Yeah, this could be a nasty race here today. Obviously, like I said, no cautions, so if you do get in a wreck, your day is pretty much toast. There's no saving your stuff once you get in that wreck. I think there we go. Oh, and Kovacic gets spun out there. Oh, and it's not looking pretty. So let's go back a little bit and see the replay here, because we're only going to have a short window to actually catch all the action. That's the 77 of Kovacic in third. He just sends it in a little too hard, gets into the wall, spinning out right there. Here comes the 50 of Tim Cording. And with nowhere to go, Trevor Vaden. That might be a day ender for him. The rest of the drivers look like they kind of peeked through the carnage there. This just goes to show you how hard they want to race here today. Yeah, very flat. The only difference obviously being very sandy. So combining the flat with the sandy, you're like double down on the slideways here today. Flat and sandy, no banking really visibly at all. New third place driver, that is Cooper Dwight, who just won the cup race last night here at the Super Speedway. So Cooper Dwight could put himself in a very unique situation, winning the cup race, the Daytona 500, and having a good showing here on the sandy beaches of Daytona. Braden Varga up to fourth, and then Matthew Fastnot still hanging in there, top 5. Good run here from Cooper Dwight on the high side. He's going to come charging up there alongside the 07 of Jonah Burridge. Field has shrunk significantly here now, it looks like, or at least the lead pack has sizably shrunk. Side by side going into a turn. This could be trouble for the 41. Cooper Dwight's going to hold line and fall back to third. A bit of a bump there. The 07 was getting up there alongside the 43 of Tayden Berggren. Now entering the danger zone again. We've seen this danger zone come up and strike the drivers at the front of the field. It seems like your top four have kind of got things figured out. 3 wide for the lead. Jonah Burge gets put into the tires. And now here comes Cooper Dwight side by side, drag racing down the back half of the beach. And Cooper Dwight now takes over the top spot. Well, Cooper Dwight riding the height of momentum after his Daytona win last night. Burned him down, celebrating his victory. Burnouts for Biff at the end of the race. And here tonight on the sandy beach, he's doing good, but that 43 is right there with him. It's going to be a close battle between these two. Hayden led some good laps there. Cooper Dwight's getting stuck up on the high berm of the sand. Holds off, keeps the lead, but here comes the 43 with the 9 now. The 35 making a move for 4th. That is Dave Steele Jr., the man of steel himself. There he is racing into the top 4. GMC leads the way, Chevrolet in the mix. They're all pretty well spec'd out the same here today, so it does come down to driver skill. Who's got the better drivability on a given day? And that's how you would love any race to be. If everything's consistently the same across the board, give them all spec models of race cars, and someone who has the ability will get the job done. Just like that, Dave Steele Jr. now up to 3rd. Still leading the way, Cooper Dwight, Hayden Bergeron, and Chaz Chadwick now joining the party, now up to 4th. Getting by Braden Varga there. Fastest lap in the race has swapped hands to Tasha Wright. She's in the midst of the pack, kind of mid-pack there, that pink truck, the pink number 90. For Reemergence Racing is her primary sponsor, the team she owns. Oh, Cooper Dwight gets done dirty there. 43 cuts him off, putting him into the tire barrier, and Hayden Bergeron back to the top spot. Here comes Chaz Chadwick, now up into the top 3 positions here. That 18 purple GMC. It is kind of fascinating to watch them race here, and they get into a draft on the the backstretch like that. It's kind of cool. Almost looks like a serpentine snake slithering down the backstretch. And they send it in there. They send it in hard. Those trucks get so loose in the sand. Heck, they're not even using the pavement there. They're using the sand as much as they can, which is kind of crazy to think. As soon as they got onto the pavement, that's where the speed was. You could see the difference as the 35 was getting freight trained there. Well, thank you folks for tuning in. It's a Saturday. It's kind of an odd time. Usually I don't typically broadcast on Saturdays because people are busy and obviously the weekend mode for a lot of people. So trying something different this season. figured the big draw would be doing an elite challenge like this. Whoa, Cooper Dwight gets right up to the lead there, 3 wide for second. Braden Varga, Chaz Chadwick, and Taden Bergeron all sandwiched together there. So out of nowhere, Braden Varga now up to second as the 2 trucks drive away from the rest of the field. Cooper Dwight leads the way, and it's 3 by 3, settled down to 2 by 2. If they stayed 3 wide, 2 wide going into the turn, that could spell trouble. New fast lap belonged to Chaz Chadwick now, the 18, just after that wild, crazy moment there that he had. Well, 8 laps in, 31 laps to go. And Braden Varga now taking the top spot away from Cooper Dwight. They're closing in on some lap traffic here. That is the 61 of Brian DeBlanc, unfortunately. Must have had some troubles with damage. Yeah, the right side of that truck's kind of sandwiched in there. Still a lot could happen here. Another wreck could take out some big contenders, so it's not over until it's over. But just makes his day a little bit longer. Oh, Braden Varga gets pushed into the tires this time. They're giving it their all here. They are putting it out on the line, racing hard. This in its own is more exciting because you know the stakes that are on the line, where you've got drivers that are the best of the best. One of them wants to really claim victory here today and secure that first ever Sigma Elite win on the circuit. They're just gonna swarm around the 61. Brian DeBlanc does a good job staying out of the way there as his truck is struggling to find speed. Almost 4 wide for the lead there. 3 wide for second. Oh, and look at that. Look at Braden Varga and Cooper Dwight touch. Chaz Chadwick to the top spot. Holy cow. That was awesome. That racing right there was worth the price of admission just to see that. You know, 4 wide battle for the win here on lap 9. 30 laps to go still, but it goes to show you that they're not letting up. It's going to be all the way full throttle from start to finish here tonight. So Chaz Chadwick now gets to swap it up, leading the race for a while here. Tasha Wright now up into the top 5 as Braden Varga slots his fall back to 6th. Chris Harvey coming through the field. Chaz Chadwick hits the wall hard, and that looks like it might have hurt his momentum heavily. But here comes Chris Harvey as they're going to try to thread the needle here, perhaps. That's trouble for Chaz Chadwick. Had a great run, got to the lead there. Actually credited with leading that lap. The point system has not really been decided on yet, and the drivers knew that rolling into today's event. Obviously, points are just that, they're points. It doesn't matter what points are on the table. You want to go out there and win the race. So it didn't really change the whole approach to the race here today. But we're still trying to figure out how. Whoa! Hard wreck there for the 43 of Taden Bergeron, who had a great run going here today. Unfortunately for him, that might knock him out of contention for the win. Looks like perhaps gets loose, kind of gets slid up into Braden Varga there. And Varga just kind of finished the job off. Yeah, maybe no contact there from Varga. It's hard to tell. Let's check the chase cam here. Yeah, I think there might have been a little bit of contact. Well, the front field's starting to shrink some more here as they're catching up with some more lap traffic. Currently, your leader, Chris Harvey, over Cooper Dwight. Kevin Xavier, Dave Steele Jr., and Chaz Chadwick still in the mix. Finley Herwig kind of hanging out in the background there. Very, very valid shot for him to get into it as well. So after the vintage truck race here today, the rest of the Sigma Elite Challenge will look something like this. The next race won't be until March 21st, so they've got at least a month and a week, month plus a week break before they start the next one, but it's going to be an open wheel race. Open wheeler with the Indycar style chassis. I misspoke earlier today already. I said 100. I said 250 miles around the road course. No, it's only 160. Big difference, obviously. If we were doing 250 miles here, we'd probably be sitting for at least an hour or two. But yeah, 160 miles, the Sandy Beach 160 here at Daytona. Next on the calendar is going to be Nashville. And it's going to be based on 1970 Nashville with the Music City 250, 250 laps, 147 miles. It's not the Nashville that we're all familiar with, because it's going to be the one from 1970. Then you have the Hardwood Motordrome. It's basically a 1920s wood plank racetrack, which will bring back these vintage trucks on April 4th. Late model stock car, April 11th at Bristol. Then May 9th, another late model stock car at Langley, 1970s Langley, 1970s Bristol. Middle Georgia, a racetrack based in 1965 for the Macon Bacon 250, May 23rd, which would be around Labor Day. Then we have open wheelers at Fontana for the Wild West 250, NC State Fair late model stock car event, Carolina 200 on the 4th of July. Riverside, 1970s Riverside, California road course. So the trucks are going to be our typical road course kind of specialty. You think about, open wheel cars, they typically run on road courses as well, but we're going to be doing more like the kart days or the Indy IRL Racing League style open wheel racing with the ovals in mind. So obviously, like I mentioned, Nashville, Fontana, then you have Daytona, Ontario, and Indianapolis for the open wheelers. And Daytona, Ontario would be races 10 and 11. As I already mentioned, everything is a vintage racetrack, so it's not your current or modern Daytona. It's 1959 Daytona, the original, very first version of the Daytona Super Speedway before it got to where it is today. Then you have Darlington, 1970s Darlington for vintage trucks back again in 12. Bakersfield, the short track from, I want to say it's currently known as Kern County Raceway, but back then was called Bakersfield Raceway, 1969. 300 laps for some late model stock car racing on September 26th. These vintage trucks are going to go race the Squared Racetrack, Flemington, which is actually pretty accurate to real life because the NASCAR Super Truck Series actually raced at Flemington as well. And then it all closes off 1911 variant of Indianapolis for the open wheelers on Halloween. So focusing on some very unique schedule designs here for the Elite Challenge. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, even just like current tracks where Phoenix went through the renovation and changed the start-finish line from the back side to the front side. Obviously, Atlanta used to be way different, and we don't have Atlanta on the calendar, but that's just one of the tracks that kind of came to mind that's seen so many changes over the years. Darlington, yeah, like Brian DeBlanc says, they're very, very different from the current setup as it is today. So it's going to be exciting once we get through this calendar. Race number 1 here, obviously. And then the next one, I'm going to be busy painting for some open wheelers that we will have a full field of these 21 drivers in open wheel race cars for the Music City 250. Dwight takes back over the lead, fighting it tooth and nail with Dave Steele Jr. there. That is the 14 of Kevin Xavier, winless in all of his Sigma career so far. But having a good showing here, the number 14 GMC. Oh boy, hard hit for Kevin Xavier. Ran out of room there on the track, and I think team owner over on the Cup side runs into him there. Tough break, man. What a gnarly way to end the day for 2 LFG drivers there. LFG Motorsports coming around the turn, kind of a blind turn. He's had the line set, and bam, right into the 14 of Kevin Xavier. So from second place, Kevin Xavier loses it, overdrives it here. Wow, full slide. Bam. Yeah, it's a good way to explain it. We definitely went back in a time machine for the Sigma Elite Challenge. Back to the future, I guess, for Sigma style. Some drivers just kind of gritting it out here at the back of the field. 64 Jacob Shangle definitely just kind of trying to steer clear and hold it steady to make it home. Man, Chaz Chadwick is limping around the racetrack. That truck is toast. Finlay Herwig's truck looks like it's been through Terminator. Al Bunch up to 5th. Holy cow, where in the world has he been setting all along? Up into 5th, right there behind Braden Varga for 4th. He ain't giving Varga much room. He's like right up on his tail bumper there. Here goes Al Bunch, cruising around the number 9 of Braden Varga. Sitting in 3rd right now is Chris Harvey, the number 19 Bud Light GMC there. Cooper Dwight 2nd, and Dave Steele Jr. leading the way. Yeah, no, for the AI kind of having that, you know, over-the-top driving here, I think it's kind of got its own charm to it, actually. You know, they're racing that much harder even though you could probably adjust that out of the track. Kind of fun, kind of exciting to watch him race a little bit out of control, but what would you expect from drivers that are never used to racing on sand like this, getting thrown in a situation where they've got to race on the on the sands, the beach, just like this? I think we're seeing a pretty accurate representation of what it would be like in real life if you put some of the best drivers out on a sandy beach. You're definitely going to have your hot dogs, and you're going to have your daredevils. You're going to have your calculated, calm, and rational drivers. And the one that's going to win the race is whoever approaches all of those tactics and puts them into one nice, neat little gift box at the end of the day. It's been so much fun to watch that it doesn't even feel like we're halfway through the race. There's a lot that could still happen here. We're not even halfway yet. Right? Back when they actually did it on the beach, it usually was about 80 plus cars. Jalopies, I guess, would be a better way. They weren't really race cars. They were your average, everyday, cruiser car that they decided to go out there, Hudson Hornets and freaking speedster cars of that era. And they just go out there and tear shit up, go crazy. Too bad that you just can't take a daily driver car and go race for fun anymore. You gotta drop thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars to go out and actually have fun racing anymore. Which is why the Sigma Racing server is a cost-efficient. It's a cost-cutting. It's a I guess an alternative to getting into actual racing. You can set up a car and race in our series just like you would if you were racing real life, just a little different. Obviously, you're not putting in much work, but it's fun to watch your race car, your race team go out there and succeed. Here comes Dave Steele Jr. again. Lap traffic in the mix as well. That might hold up the 41 of Cooper Dwight. 35 Dave Steele Jr. had a stellar campaign in Bridge to Cup a couple years ago. Has not been able to find that magic since the 2024 season of Bridge to Cup. 2023 season of Bridge to Cup, my bad. And so he's trying to find the glory days, rekindle that magic that he once had in Bridge to Cup, where he had a 5-race win season. Cup has been a struggle for him, but this is definitely a game changer. Forget about team tactics, forget about strength of teams. You're out there in a spec vehicle matched up with a bunch of people racing the same engine specs, the same very strict guidelines for a race truck. And he's proven here today, when on equal footing, he's one hell of a driver who's capable of getting it done here today, right there alongside Cooper Dwight. So at one point we had about a 10-truck battle for the win, and nothing's safe here. I mean, your top two, they could make a mistake, and then we'd have to jump back, nearly 30 seconds in the field here to find the next driver in line. So no one's safe. Like that right there could have got dicey for your leaders, but luckily they survived it. Cooper Dwight gets by the lap traffic as well as Dave Steele Jr. there. We'll go ahead and do right at the halfway mark here. We're basically halfway through the field chase. So currently, obviously, let's do the helicopter so you can hear my voice. I don't know if that's any better. Let's just stick with TV cam because it gets a little loud with the extracurriculars. So leading the way, obviously, at the moment, between the two, it's going to be Cooper Dwight and Dave Steele Jr. You're going to have some lap traffic mixed in here, so we're going to just go through the field based on lead lap traffic. Third place at the moment, Chris Harvey. Fourth place, Al Bunch. Fifth place, Braden Varga. Sixth place, Tasha Wright. Seventh place, Finley Herwig. Eighth place, Jacob Shangle. That truck looks a little bit crinkled. Ninth place, Jonah Burridge. 10th place, Wyatt Wilkinson. In 11th place is Tim Cording. 12th place, Tayden Berggren. As Trevor Walker drops several spots back here to 13th. And we're back up with our leaders again as they're going to try to put Brian DeBlank another lap down. Wow, they are going to be making pit stops here today. So halfway through the race, one very definitive pit stop makes it so they can go the other half of the race here today. 20 laps in, 19 laps to go. I don't know how Braden Varga got treated as the leader. The ticker up above said Braden Varga your leader, which is weird. But he might shake around to your new leader. He's right at the tail end of the lap. Oh, shoot, I'm not live. That's why. So with pit stops, now it shuffles around to Braden Varga, your new leader here. But I think he's still going to have to make a pit stop. Just kind of skimming through fast forward here as pit stops are happening. He actually got off live and didn't get back to live, so Braden Varga retires from the lead to make his pit stop here. You do got to wonder how many of these trucks are going to stay on pit road extra long to get the damages kind of tweaked and modified. Taking a trip down pit road is not ideal in circumstances like this because you will be kind of stuck on pit road making repairs. And here we are back to our leaders here, Dave Steele Jr. and the 41 of Cooper White. Ooh, 35 gets way loose. He's going to clip the tires. 41's going to run him into the wall there as well. Yeah, this is what it is. The Elite Challenge definitely brings out the beast in these drivers. We're seeing some very aggressive moves being made here today. These two better not make a mistake or else they could put themselves out of contention here today by wrecking each other. Slideways goes the 41, and oh boy, almost makes the same mistake we saw out of Kevin Xavier just earlier. Slideways through that last turn there before the start-finish line. Here they are coming up upon some more lap traffic here today. Dave Steele Jr. with the fastest lap now. After a pit stop, it seems they've been able to adjust that truck and get it right. 35 leads the way over the 41. Yeah, this race will be probably about a near perfect 1 hour benchmark to start the Sigma Elite Challenge this year. As already mentioned, first season of its existence. We decided to kind of figure out a new platform to try and celebrate the champions, the elite of our series. There's definitely some ideas rolling around. I just thought about making a vintage truck series, and then I thought to myself, it's like, you know what? Why just the vintage trucks, you know? Yeah, the vintage trucks in its own is a cool mod, but why can't we figure out a way to test the waters of every driver's capabilities? And so that's kind of where this came to be, as a true test of the driver's ability to race whatever you put under them. Very unique. I don't think there's any other concept in this world that exists that actually captures everything that we're trying to do here, because it would pretty much require different rule sets for every track, every vehicle. But with NR2003, who cares about rule packages? Who cares about legality and safety and all of that? So yeah, no, it's going to come down to who is the true all-around racer in Sigma, and someone is going to come out on top and figure out how to master the vintage truck. They'll figure out how to master the open wheel race car, and even vintage late models, which should almost be a walk in the park for most of them, since they've raced in the Sigma feeder series or the Cup series as it is. So the super late model, the late model stock car, should be an easy pickup, but you got to remember, we're going to be racing back in time at retro racetracks with different layouts, different configurations, and ultimately different different benchmarks for the drivers that are used to a break point at the racetrack. That all goes out the door, because back in the 1970s, maybe the track was better paved, maybe it had more character, maybe it had less character than it did with the current version of every track. So I must say, I feel like everyone has taken to the sandy beaches of Daytona very well here today, proven that they are capable of learning pretty quickly. A few drivers did make the ultimate grave mistake of getting toasted, getting wrecked out here today. Already knocked out was Trevor Vaden way earlier. He crunched that number 8. The 77 of Chase Kovacic was slightly involved with that as well. And then the LFG Motorsports double death of Chaz Chadwick and Kevin Xavier. Xavier, who was running in second, just lost complete and total control, sliding all the way across the sand into the outside wall. And Chaz Chadwick, with nowhere to go, collects him up, finishing both of their days. But in the meantime, we've got a 2-car fight at the front of the field. Dave Steele Jr., a Bridge to Cup standout and Cup regular right now, alongside Cooper Dwight, who just got his first career Sigma Cup win last night in the Daytona 500. Riding that momentum high here today on the beaches of Daytona in the number 41 GMC DXP competition vintage truck. Glad to have you in the stream, Al. Your truck's doing all right, top 10 at least. Or at least was, yeah, you're actually top 3, you're running third. So if the leaders, the top 2, have any mistakes here, Al Bunch would be able to pounce and take the top spot, only if your leaders make a grave mistake somewhere in the second half of the event. Dave Steele Jr. is going to get stuck up high, 3 wide with lap traffic on his inside. He kind of let out of the throttle a little bit to stay clear. And now 41, getting through the gears a little bit slower than the 35. 35's got a big advantage at the moment over second place Cooper Dwight. This to me is just so cool, seeing these vintage trucks race around the track. So cool, so throwback. And we've been treated to a good one so far with still 14 laps to go. Hopefully all have enjoyed watching the race here that have tuned in here today. And it was a long one last night, the Daytona 500. It did not feel like it was going to get going. We had wrecks galore. More than half the field, I think, was knocked out before even halfway through the 500 miles at Daytona. And by that time, we only had 13 cars finish the race on Friday the 13th nonetheless. Hopefully going forward, we're not going to see as many crash-ridden races like that one for the Sigma Cup Series. Because last night's Sigma Cup race felt more like a Sigma ARCA race. But this Elite Challenge thing, it's kind of a game changer. I feel like we're seeing some really strong runs from drivers. A few drivers that just were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And even drivers that are struggling still have a solid shot at picking up some more spots, picking up precious points based on what will be the point system when we figure it out. Wow, some of the big gainers are through the field's going to look a little different now with the pit stops. As Dave Steele still holds the lead, we're going to watch him through this turn, make sure he doesn't make a mistake. Looks like he's going to steer clear of Wyatt Wilkinson there. Second place, no, Cooper Dwight gets in a mistake. So how does he make the mistake here? Looks like he just overdrives it, loses it, totally loses it on his own. No mistakes made by any other drivers. He recollects it, gets back rolling. But now up to third. Man, third place Al Bunch is half the track behind. So your leader, your top two drivers really did establish a big lead here today. Fourth place Jacob Shangle there in the number 64 Ford. Fifth place Finley Herwig. Sixth place Tasha Wright. And that's where you're sitting with Dave Steele Jr. about to put sixth place a lap down. So that means seventh on back, already a lap down here today. Your leaders, they're just executing and minimizing mistakes made here. But they can still make mistakes too, just as everyone else has today. So we saw the 41 make his mistake. Looks like he has a big enough advantage to kind of keep second place for now. But it ultimately, it'll take him out of contention from the 35 unless the 35 makes a mistake. Whoa, and DeBlanc got used up there with nowhere to go. So as you can see, the deficits on the side there. Dave Steele Jr. setting an average race pace of 150 miles an hour. So with a 160-mile race here, we're looking at pretty much laying it down at the 1 hour mark here today. 13 seconds back is Cooper Dwight after the mistake he made. But then Al Bunch is a uproariously large 54 seconds back. That's a lifetime at any racetrack you go to. Jacob Shangle 1 minute 13 seconds back. And then the lap traffic on the horizon here, Tasha Wright 1 minute 35 seconds. Finley Herwig 1 minute 32 seconds. As we're down to just 10 laps to go. Dave Steele Jr. could definitely surprise us here, minimizing on mistakes made. That 35 looks cleanest of everyone out there. Don't see very much damage on it, apart from a little bit of wrinkling on the right side. He's going to get stuck up high here. Wyatt Wilkinson closes the door on him. Braden Varga also making a move. These are all lap trucks working their way around the number 35 of Dave Steele. Yeah, there you go. 2 more trucks on the risk of going a lap down. That pink truck of Tasha Wright, she's going to have to hold on for dear life to stay on the lead lap. No cautions here today to really save you or give you the wave around wild, lucky dog. It's survival of the fittest. If you're going to go a lap down, then that's just name of the game here today. Lap traffic's really, whoa. I want to take a glance at this move I saw in the peripheral. It looked like he got way wide for Brian DeBlanc here. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. It just looked very weird in the background of the camera shot. But even for Brian DeBlanc, if he can survive and any more trucks fall out, he could still pick up spots. 17th may not look ideal, but oh, there's your leader. Your leader, Dave Steele Jr., gets taken out by lap traffic. He's got about a 13-second advantage. Is he going to be able to get rolling again here and keep the lead? 17 seconds, that was the mistake that he needed to avoid. It wasn't even his fault. Here comes the 41 of Cooper Dwight. So Dwight might close the gap by about 10 seconds. But how bad is the 35 truck for damage? Is he going to have any damage that'll slow up the truck? We'll have to see. For him now, his best mode of attack is just kind of settle in and safety up. No reason to race too hard. Amongst the lap traffic because of the stuff that could happen, just like it did. So 9 laps to go. This time it'll be 8 laps to go. Is the truck happy or is it hurt? That was a very slow lap for the 35. And here comes the 41 of Cooper Dwight. A 140.9 to Dave Steele Jr.'s 148. So 8 seconds, he cut the gap in half. Eight laps to go, fastest lap, Dave Steele Jr. still. We'll see if he gets back in the lap times that he was running before the accident. Same camera shot, you can see Cooper Dwight back there. He's got a long ways to go, but perhaps maybe he can get a little bit of drafting help with the 61 of Brian DeBlanc to try and catch up. 35 throws it in there, sliding through the turn. Here comes across the front stretch again. 35. He is slowed way down. That truck is not happy. He's losing time. He lost 2 seconds on this lap. Well, only a second. Cooper Dwight was 1 second faster. But in the grand scheme of things, 7 more laps. If he keeps growing keeps gaining the advantage by about 2 seconds a lap, he'll be knocking on the door of the 35 by the last lap for Cooper Dwight. So mistakes were made. 35 just trying to kind of clean it up here and make sure that that didn't define the race, but his truck not handling the way it should be after that mistake was made. Be a wild way to start if we had our Cup winner from last night race the next day and win the Elite race here today. Still a large gap. You can see that gap. It's a long ways back for the 41 of Cooper Dwight. He's starting to spread it out from the 61 of DeBlanc and try to close that gap to the 35. Let us see what the lap time looks like for Dave Steele here. A 1:41.9, so he kind of picked it up a little bit. And then a 1:41.7 for Cooper Dwight, so that is not going to be quick enough by any means. These trucks definitely hurting. And no one's really going to close that gap, even though Al Bunch is running about 3 seconds a lap faster than your leaders. Damn, look at that. Another 3 seconds a lap faster. He didn't have enough laps to make that count, so the 35 and the 41 would have to make another mistake, whereas Al Bunch's lap times are the quickest on track right now. He's closing the gap. It's down to 38 seconds. It was 41 seconds, now 38 seconds. Was it the 41 here that made another hard hit with the wall? Yeah, he rode the wall, kind of did the Ross Chastain there. Doesn't look like that gap shrinking a whole lot, even though it looked like it could have been. I mean, y'all always kind of have to rule in the potential, J.R. Hildebrand style finish where the driver leading the race on the last lap makes a grand mistake and roaring out, from the dust in the background, second place guy steals the show. If you're not familiar with J.R. Hildebrand in the Indy, I believe that was the 2012 Indianapolis 500, maybe the 2011, and he was leading the 2011 Indianapolis 500. Blew a tire coming out of turn 4 at Indianapolis and hit the wall hard. Well, out of nowhere, here comes the late great Dan Weldon to end up taking the win for what was at the time his second career Indianapolis 500. And then later that year we ended up losing Dan Weldon in Indycar when they went to race at Las Vegas. So the gap shrunk again here, folks. I just kept an eye on it. Dave Steele Jr. turned a 1:44.1 to Cooper Dwight's 1:41.2. He just cut the gap by 3 seconds. And you can see that 35 is struggling here. He is not keeping the gap advantage as the 41 is starting to close in like a shark. 35 just trying to hold on for dear life at this point. That lap was a 1:44.3. And Cooper Dwight just turned a 1:40.5, 4 seconds faster. Based on that, he's going to be right on the back bumper of the 35 this lap, as he's closing rapidly here within 4 laps to go. Yeah, no, the damage is just a little bit too real for the 35, as he's not going to be able to hold on. Hopefully these two don't take each other out, though. If they did, you know, that's where Al Bunch in the background is licking his lips, knows that these two are getting back into it with each other. If they take each other out, Al Bunch, new leader in the race, take over the top spot. Obviously, 38 seconds back. Oh, 41 hits the wall hard there. That's going to slow his trajectory just a little bit, as the 35 starts to stretch it back out here. It's turned into a game of who makes the least amount of mistakes here today. The Elite Challenge testing these drivers' wits and skills, their patience and determination. It's all out there on the line. Man, Al Bunch is still, wow, Al Bunch actually fallen off the side of a cliff there, turned a 1:55. He must have made a mistake. That truck looks destroyed. Was he going too fast? Oh, that's still not far enough back. I don't know. Somewhere he had a mistake on the one lap, and it fell down to a 1:55.1 second lap. I allowed Jacob Schenkel to get by him. I don't really have time to keep checking back replays here as we're getting down to the end of this one, where the big moments are waiting to happen, the race winning moments, that is. And I'm sure there were mistakes all over the track here today, and we probably missed a bunch of them, but here goes the 41, Cooper Dwight, to the top spot. 35 falls backwards, and the 50, that's lap traffic there of Tim Cording. So back to the top for Cooper Dwight here. So now third place, Jacob Schenkel, who sits 50 seconds back, would be the one waiting for the fallout at the front of the field. All Cooper Dwight has to do is not make a mistake or put him in his, put himself in a situation where someone else would force a mistake around him. 50 of Tim Cording might be one to try and steer clear of, so that you're not putting yourself in danger's way. Tim Cording, though, he ain't gonna play nice. He knows that anything he can do he can do better if he gets around the 41. It's not like it matters where he finishes on track. I'm sure he wants to get some good insights on the track, get some good track data here, figure out what he can fix for next year when we come back to this racetrack. There he is. He's going to get around the 41, keeping the 41 into the tire wall there. And Dave Steele lost about 5 seconds there to the lead. At this point, it's almost going to require a miracle for the 35 to get back into it, as he's fallen so far. Basically, the advantage flip-flopped where the 41 was about that far back. Now it turns into the 35 being that far back. Well, just a couple laps left remaining here. Cooper Dwight could set himself up in a very unique situation where he wins back-to-back days. Last night on Friday the 13th, the Sigma Cup Daytona 500 race winner was this 41 driver of Cooper Dwight. Don't want to jinx it yet. Obviously still a couple laps left to go. Don't want to give him the curse of calling the race before it's over. Yeah, it almost feels like the trucks are wore out after this long 160-mile venture here today. We're at the 1 hour and change mark for this season opening, series opening, race number 1 inaugural event. And no one has to worry about fuel, tires, any of that jazz. They're going to make it to the finish here with what they've got. White flag waving one more time around the circuit. Cooper Dwight leads the way. Running in second, none other than Dave Steele Jr. Followed by third place, Jacob Shangle with a stellar resurgence out of that 64, coming all the way from the back of the field. Fourth place, Wyatt Wilkinson. Fifth place, Finley Herwig. Sixth place, Braden Varga. What happened to Al Bunch? All the way back to seventh, now back to eighth. Ninth place, Jonah Burridge. 10th place, Tim Cording. Not Cooper Dwight. Tim Cording in 10th. Cooper Dwight, your leader. Gonna make it through the last danger spot here, and it's pretty much a windy, curvy back stretch chase to the finish line here. Here we go. Well, one race in the books, folks. 14 more to go for the Sigma Elite Challenge. There will be 3 separate championship bubbles to look at, and then the overall championship with all 3 of the series combined. But taking the win in the first vintage truck race, 1 of 5, it's going to be Cooper Dwight, who just come out victorious last night from Daytona. Seems to be Daytona is his calling this year. Cooper Dwight takes home Sigma Elite race number 1 for 2026. Coming home second, Dave Steele Jr., a very valiant effort, but still a great finish. And third place, still Jacob Shangle with a killer advantage over the rest of the field. There looked to be a little bit of drama in the back here. The 21 of Trevor Walker gets turned around. He glued it to that outside wall, and at the wrong place, wrong time, just loses it completely. Wow, Al Bunch works his way around that. Sixth place. Wow, this right here is a very volatile position. It flip-flopped from Wyatt Wilkinson in 4th, Varga in 5th, Finley Herwig in 6th to Finley Herwig is going to take home 4th, Varga 5th, and Wyatt Wilkinson 6th. Coming home 7th, it's going to be Tasha Wright. And the rest of your drivers basically holding on for where they finished laps down. Al Bunch on the lead lap though, 8th. 9th, Jonah Burridge. And 10th, Tim Cording, the last truck on the lead lap there. Yeah, how fitting. King of Daytona, Cooper Dwight, takes home 2 victories this week at Daytona alone. Daytona Super Speedway, and then on the configuration of the beach racetrack here for him today in the Vintage Truck Series. Well, that was an exciting one, folks. Kind of different, giving us a little bit of a different flair, different vibe for the racer, the racers here today. Was truly a wild card race, not knowing who was going to show up here today and perform at the top of their game. One thing is for certain, Cooper Dwight sets himself off as the #1 guy here in the Sigma Elite Challenge for this season. A few other drivers probably stoked for a resurgence of luck here today after Daytona has been such an unlucky track for many of them. You're looking like at Kevin Xavier, Chaz Chadwick, Chase Kovacic, and Trevor Vaden. They had the worst luck here today. Bradley Ream as well retired with that group. 5 retirements, 16 trucks left running. Survived the carnage at least well enough that they could keep the truck going. So I've got my work cut out for me, folks, getting all our points tallied up, scored, and posted on the website. I've been busy with some other stuff, so I haven't had the time to sit down and score everything, but I will make sure tonight to get everything scored up and posted on the website for everyone to see. But this definitely provided us with some fun racing and exciting action that we can look forward to for the other 14 races on the schedule for this series. Truck did not look that clean. I'm kind of surprised it made it look cleaner than it actually was for the 41 there of Cooper Dwight. But that's a wrap here today, folks. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting the server. Very much appreciate everyone that does keep supporting it with thumbs up, subscribes, whatever you can on the server. It does all those wonderful things in the algorithm to hopefully get us a little bit more presence to the public eye. So, congratulations yet again to Cooper Dwight. Back-to-back wins at Daytona in back-to-back days. Very intriguing storyline for sure. And so that wraps up the second week of Sigma Racing as we look towards week number 3. But before we do, obviously, Sunday, the big Daytona 500 tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be watching. Enjoy the NASCAR season is finally upon us. And our Sigma season as well, very much in full swing. So we'll see you in the next stream, folks. Have a great day. Have a happy Valentine's Day. Stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.